Okay, so let's talk about this. You've got a shocking crime, a trial that was supposed to be the trial of the century in Hollywood, and then nothing. It just goes silent. We're going to dig into what's going on with this high-profile case that's just suddenly, and kind of mysteriously, been put on ice.
So right at the center of all this is Nick Reiner. He's accused of this absolutely horrific crime against his parents, the famous director Rob Reiner and his wife. What we're going to try to figure out is why his trial, which, let's be honest, was shaping up to be a massive Hollywood spectacle, has just stopped, completely out of the blue.
All right, so the first piece of the puzzle, the real key to understanding why everything stalled, it comes down to a big shift in his legal team. And really, it all boils down to one simple thing: money.
So get this, it turns out there's a huge rift in the family. Nick Reiner's own brother and sister have apparently cut off the cash flow for his super expensive legal team. And that move, wow, it's not just a financial problem for him. It really tells you a lot about how fractured this family is right now.
And that has a huge impact. I mean, think about it. The defense goes from having this top-tier, high-powered lawyer, Alan Jackson, to a public defender. Now, public defenders are heroes, but they are often totally swapped, juggling tons of cases with very few resources. It's like going from a Formula One team to, well, something much, much different. It's a whole other world of legal firepower.
So, okay, this switch in lawyers is the direct reason for the delay. We're talking a delay that could last for years. But here's the thing. The fallout from this delay goes way beyond just the courtroom schedule. And that, my friends, is where this story gets really interesting.
Because this delay, it throws a massive wrench into what could be the most crucial part of the entire case, what some very, very famous people might have to say on the witness stand. People who were with the family literally hours before everything went down.
And the event that connects all these Hollywood A-listers to the case? A Christmas party, hosted by none other than Conan O'Brien. Apparently, it was at this party, just a few hours before the tragedy, that Nick Reiner's behavior was reportedly so deeply disturbing that it made other guests really uncomfortable.
Now, months after the fact, Conan O'Brien did finally talk about it. He expressed, his shock and his grief. But while it was an emotional statement for sure, it also kind of tiptoed around some really important questions that people were asking. Yeah, his statement completely dodged the really serious allegation that someone at the party actually stopped people from calling for help. And that just leaves this giant question mark hanging over the whole night. What did people see? And maybe more importantly, who stopped them from reporting it?
So you start to wonder, right? What is really going on here? Is this whole delay just a standard legal thing, or is something a little more complicated happening behind the scenes?
Let's take a look at some of the theories that are floating around about what might be happening behind the curtain.
Okay, so here are the main ideas. The first one is pretty simple. Textbook legal strategy. Your case is weak, you delay. Classic tactic. But the other theories? Oh, they are way more interesting. They suggest this isn't just about legal tactics. It's about a tangled web of motivations, everything from protecting big-name celebrities to a massive political cover-up.
And this is the most explosive theory of them all. It connects Rob Reiner's deep political connections to this delay. The idea here is that the trial was intentionally put on hold to protect the reputations of some huge names in both Hollywood and Washington, and to make sure some potentially very damaging skeletons stay locked in the closet.
So, where does that leave us? Well, with the trial basically in limbo, we're left with a whole lot more questions and answers.
This timeline really paints a picture, doesn't it? Just look at how fast things changed. You go from a high-stakes legal showdown with a top lawyer hired in early 2026 to a dead stop just 1 month later. And now the trial might not happen for up to 5 years. That's a huge shift.
And all of this just brings us right back to the core mystery. What actually went down at that Christmas party? Are we ever going to hear from those celebrity witnesses? And was the whole funding thing a real family dispute, or was it a deliberate, calculated move to just stop this trial from ever happening?
Which leaves us with a really unsettling question, When you have a case like this, where you've got so much wealth, fame, and power all mixed up with the legal system, is this just a case of justice delayed, or is it justice denied? And right now, that's a question nobody seems to have an answer to.